What's good, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael, and today I'm going to be giving you 3 tips to help relieve knee pain when squatting. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, squeeze that ass. I read it or I watched a video on it a couple years back, and I don't know why it works, but I've been trying it recently. And I think it really does help. Naturally, my butt is out a little bit, and I'm not sure why. But when I contract my glutes, my hips are extended, I'm more upright, and you do this before the squat movement and in between every single repetition. It really does help for me. Tip number 2. I actually stumbled upon this on accident, and that is if you're having asymmetrical knee pain in one of your knees, and it's not a muscle imbalance problem, chances are it has nothing to do with the knee specifically. And it might have to do with the tightness of one of the hamstrings. I've been having this left tightness pain when just squatting the bar. And there's nothing inherently wrong with the structure of my knee. There was no injury that occurred. And strength-wise, both legs are fairly similar. But what I did find when I started randomly stretching, trying to troubleshoot this issue, was that my left hamstring was ridiculously tight. I don't know if I was just sitting a lot or what, but it was tight. Now, we know if we watch my stretching video that there's something called stretch-induced strength loss that's associated with static stretching. This is dependent on the total amount of stretching and how close the stretching actually occurs to the bout of exercise. But fortunately, we don't have to worry about that because of something called dynamic stretching. You've probably heard of this. This is where the movement is dynamic. You're actually moving through the range of motion. You're not holding it for a prolonged period of time. I'm going to recommend that we do leg swings for this particular issue. What we're focusing on is not necessarily kicking all the way up to our face, but that we're keeping our knee extended, keeping that hamstring in a stretched position. We're going to kick up to where it's uncomfortable, but not unbearable. And then while we're at it, we might as well kick that leg back and stretch the quad out as well. You can do this in between sets or even before the squat workout. It really is up to you. Tip number 3 is one that I actually don't use too much for my lower body, but I use quite a bit for my upper body. And that's something Jeff Nippard introduced me to called, pre-activation contraction exercises. It's essentially where you're trying to feel the burn. You're trying to squeeze the muscle, kind of slow it down. You're not really worried about the weight. You're more focused on your kinesthetic awareness, where your body is throughout the movement. Now, the squat actually doesn't use a ton of the posterior chain. The glutes and the hamstrings don't contribute much to the movement, but they are a part of the movement. And many people are very quad dominant, so you could see where this is a problem. Essentially, they're using all of the anterior muscles of the leg, the front side of the leg, and none of the back side. And this is pulling on the knee in weird ways. So what we can do is we can do a glute bridge. We can do a lying hamstring curl. We're slowing down the eccentric. We're not worried about the weight. And in fact, we don't want to choose a heavy weight. We're just trying to feel the muscles, those smaller muscles, get them activating so that they can contribute to the movement. Because if you have them in your arsenal, why not use them? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this video. If you do try out one of the tips, put in the comment section down below, return to this video, and put whether it helped you or whether it didn't. In fact, if you have another suggestion that you found works for you that I didn't mention in this video, put it down below. I know I'll read it, and I'm sure other people will read it as well. Constructive criticism is always welcome. I really mean that. And yeah, rate the video, subscribe for more. That's all I got. Peace, elites.
You're not going through it. It's going through you. And once it's all gone, you'll become the new you with a different perspective from the same point of view.